Three, two, one. What is up, everybody? You are listening, you are watching to the Book of Gaberock. I am your host, Gabriel Avila. Welcome to 2026. It's been a minute since I've released and recorded some content. I did release entry 4 last week, but I did take a break over the holiday break because it was an awesome holiday break. I hope for you and yours it was awesome. Both Lana and Ben made it. So spoiler, I held on for 2 months. I made it. We planned a surprise visit for Lana. We already knew that Benjamin was going to come home, so Ben was going to come home from Arizona State to stay with us for the whole month and go visit his girlfriend. And actually, he visited his girlfriend like a lot, which is about right for a young man of his age. He's definitely going to be spending more time with his girlfriend than his parents. So it is what it is. But we planned for 2 months to surprise Gina with Lana's visit here. So Lana came after, she actually arrived on our anniversary, 3 hours late from her flight from Phoenix. But we pulled off the surprise and she stayed with us for like about a week over the New Year's and everything. So it was awesome having the 4 ship together. I held on to that surprise for barely did I hold on to that surprise. People at work, I was stressing out about it. There were so many times that I almost spilled the beans here just because I would just make a mental mistake about something and almost we talked about something and Gina would be like, we should talk to Lana about that. I'd be like, yes, we should talk to her about that the next time we see her, which is I don't know when. But it was definitely a really good surprise and definitely a good way to spend the holidays. And then we came back to reality. We sent off the kiddos back to Arizona. That we got settled back into the groove. It's always kind of rough when you go back to some really really fun times and get back to the grind. But it is what it is. Now we are going back into 2026. I've still not quite yet. I'm getting closer to understanding what the next chapter is going to be for us in the Air Force. Has not become official yet, but we'll see. I think it might involve cowboy boots, but we'll see exactly what the next chapter is going to be. And then you are officially looking at the 46-year-old model of this guy. My birthday was yesterday, and so now it's whatever. I'm on the downhill of this decade, and we'll see how it goes. But everything is sort of feeling okay. Shoulder surgery's been physical therapy has been making positive strides, and so all in all, I'm looking forward to 2026. The schedule is already packed with a lot of stuff going on for the calendar, and so looking forward to it. I'm not a new year, new me kind of dude necessarily. I have things I want to accomplish. I have not set necessarily any goals, but I definitely have things I want to accomplish, and so I think I distinguish between the two. But it is what it is. I will continue to be distributing content here. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you check out thebookofgaberock.com, and then you can actually check out my YouTube channel as well as subscribe to the podcast, depending on how you like to consume the content. So entry number 4, a team that can't talk isn't a team. Some of that stuff actually happened through the holidays and then culminated maybe like a week after I got back to work. And it's been happening like a lot. It's interesting, just kind of depending on where you're at. And just, I would almost argue it's a reflection of the times now, maybe because I'm old or whatever it is. I've lived through the rise of electronic communications and then how we're becoming more and more disconnected, even though we are more technically connected than ever. And so it's just kind of interesting how in my position now at the adult table, as I like to say, on the executive council, where for whatever reason, I've become less approachable, which is kind of odd to me, where people are choosing not to want to talk to me. I don't know why. I think it's because I don't know why they want to talk to me. I think it's because they don't want to talk to me because it involves having an actual conversation, and potentially they don't want to hear anything and have an actual conversation. They just want me to just say no, or made to do whatever they want to do. So it's easier to just kind of avoid conversations or confrontation. Maybe that's how they see it. Which I don't think a conversation is immediately a confrontation, but I think they see it. I'm ready to, but I will also stand my ground or actually be able to have a conversation, right? And so I'm I'm encountering it because I think there's different perspectives how to approach problems. I tend to want to tackle it head on as a team, where others would rather do it kind of individually behind the scenes, which to me just takes too long. Like it ends up being like a very awkward, and almost can, and I would argue, break down the team even further. It's going to erode the trust because you're going to have these individual one-on-one conversations, and it just wastes time. And it's like, why are we having these individual conversations where we should be able to talk together as a team as friggin' adults? There's so many things that I'm experiencing as a colonel in the Air Force that I did not imagine that I would have to be dealing with. But here we are in 2026, and I'm dealing with them. And so the ability to talk, this ends up becoming one of those things where if you're prepared to talk, that's another thing. Like I prepare very, very well. And I also don't like surprising people. So if I'm going to bring up a subject that I think is either going to be difficult or challenging, I usually will ask people like, hey, we should talk about this, and here's the things that I'm thinking about. That way, we call it like, I don't want to throw snakes on the table or surprise anybody, but I do want to talk about it. So the problem is not going to get better by being ignored, but let's talk about it. Let's bring everything to the table to make sure that we have everything there. And we as leaders are charged to make the difficult decision. If it was an easy decision, it already been made, but that's the reason why we need to talk through it. Is everybody going to get their way? No, that's okay, including me. I'm not interested in winning any conversation. I'm interested in coming up with is the actual group solution that makes sense for the team and then moving forward from there. But we can't do that as a team if we don't talk. So that's the kind of stuff that really, really frustrates me when we avoid the group conversations for whatever odd reason, because I think it makes people uncomfortable. And that uncomfort, like that's your problem. That's not my problem. And we as a team need to overcome that. Us as individuals need to overcome that discomfort. And especially as when you're sitting at the adult table, when you're part of the senior leadership team, you better be able to just be professional and objective and be able to, and be prepared. Be prepared to, if you are very passionate about a certain position and you believe in it, then come prepared. Be able to defend your position and be able to counter other people's positions. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you have solid information and data in order to back up your position, then I'm pretty sure you're going to convince others of like, this is going to be the right way. That's the proper way to do things versus just avoiding confrontation or just kind of like, harump, we just need to do this, and just trying to shorten the conversation. That's no way to actually operate as a team. So talking really, really should be another thing that's happening right now is this weird kind of thing as far as, I'll probably publish another episode about this. Our award program at our organization is kind of weird, where there's different bias that's going on, and I'm trying to figure out a way to normalize and actually remove the bias from some of our perspectives, because I think we are having differences in opinion as far as what is good performance and not good performances. And it's just kind of odd because people are bringing in perspectives to where they're just going to see a situation and they're just going to manipulate it and only see it to where their perspective is the correct one versus being objective. And they are at other senior leader positions to where they should be recognizing, we're supposed to be recognizing the best, where instead their bias is leading them towards something. And they're in group conversations about this. And this is the wild thing. You hear people just start talking about something like, where did you grow up in the Air Force that you actually think like that? That's not a real thing. But apparently in my organization, sometimes that happens in behind the scenes. So it's already been a fascinating 2026. But I'm going to continue. I still get fired up about it. This is the reason why I still believe that ISO has a runway in front of me that's going to be worthwhile. I believe that I want to, some of me, not some of me, a lot of me believes that there's going to be a certain part of the formation that we are going to be unable to change because they're just set in their ways and it is what it is. So I'm more interested in influencing the generation right below them and the masses in order to make sure that we teach them the positive behaviors that should be reflective. And then they start to just en masse you could call it the correct things or just the better things for the organization. I want to see more better. I want to see positive behaviors outnumber the negative behaviors. And I think that's a way to have a really, really strong team. And so I believe that, the Air Force that raised me is the same Air Force that I believe I want to push forward. And I really want to leave it better than I left when I entered it. And so I still am positive about that when I go in, day out. I'm passionate about that. So people may or may not care for my brand of leadership. It is what it is. It's here to stay, at least until I decide to hang it up. So it definitely, if you're in, it's very, very rare if you're going to be working individually. If you're part of a team, make sure you create an environment and create the culture where talking is encouraged. Be professional, be respectful of each other, but talking is a great thing for a team, and the best teams know how to talk to each other. So, looking forward to publishing again more content. Again, go back to the bookofgaberock.com to see my previous content. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like, and head up the podcast. And we'll talk to you next week. Peace.